Hey, how you doing, everybody? As always, this is JD Lewis with Untamed Conversations, coming at you with a special pre-4th of July episode. I hope everybody has a great day off or week off or whatever the hell you have. Nowadays, with most companies, you only get one day because it's all about the bottom dollar and profit, baby. Woo! But this week, I'm going to be solo again. I got back from vacation last week, so I got a bunch of guests lined up now. But today I wanted to talk about pretty much when it's time to move on, whether it come to, pretty much we're talking about business, right? You know, when you're not appreciated, I guess, when you're not feeling like what you do is enough. Context, not about me, just in general, kind of listening to what other people say, listening to my friends when they vent to me, family members and whatnot. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And you could tell, though, there's some companies that will move with the times and treat you great, and, you might get more of a workload, but you're going to get a significant raise in pay. There's other companies that you get a lot more work, and you don't get more in pay. So, that's when you got to realize, is it time to move on? Is it time to look for something else? I think the first plan of action anytime that happens is to always talk to maybe your supervisor first. Ask them what's going on with the company. How are they doing? How's their production? How's their financials? How's everything going for the year? And I think you have to, kind of sit down with a plan of attack and talk about yourself. Be selfish, Obviously, you want the people you work with to, be successful as well and get compensated just as well. But, at the end of the day, when you have a job, unless you own the company, you're worried about yourself only. When you own the company, obviously you have employees that you have to really cater to, look out for. When it comes to just working for an employer, you need to see if it's the best thing for you and your family. A lot of companies say that, we're like a family here, and that's great. It's good to be close with your coworkers and whatnot, but I have my family. We have our family. Everybody has their family at home. I kind of stopped listening to that line a long time ago, and that's just me. I don't think it's a bad thing. Working for a good company nowadays is hard. You see a lot of companies are hiring, and you get concerned. Are these companies that the turnover is just significant, or are these companies that really need another employee? But I think to kind of answer what I was saying before, if you sit down and you have a plan of action and you go over it with your supervisor, you go over it with your other bosses, and you tell them what you want and what you're expecting, and they tell you no, then you need to take that into account and say, okay, they appreciate me, but they don't appreciate me that much. I think it kind of gets lost in the sauce sometimes, the amount of work the common employee puts in to make sure that their department or the company itself is running well. I think it gets overlooked, and because at the end of the day, you don't really see too many managers that are staying late all the time. It's the employees. They're the ones that are busting their ass to make sure that the last couple hours of the day goes smooth. For me, it's different. My company, all the managers work hard. They all stay and help us. But listening to some horror stories from some of my friends, that's why I wanted to do this episode. How do you know when it's right to go talk to a manager about a compensation raise? How do you know when it's right to just say, you know what, it's time. I'm done with this. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start something new. I have a lot of friends that are nervous as hell when they left their jobs. You look at me, I was at Toyota almost 9 years, and I was scared to death when I left. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was nervous. I made it work. I figured it out. I made it work, and it turns out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I know that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the grass is not always greener, but at the same time, I feel like if you're not appreciated and you're undervalued, you need to make that move. You need to jump out of your skin and say, you know what? At the end of the day, I'll make it. I've seen friends that left their jobs, and after a month or two, they regretted it, and they were like, shit, now I can't go back to my old job. I think that's a bad mentality to have. Me personally, when I left Toyota, there was no turning around and saying, I'm going to fucking come back. The way I was raised, the way I am, if I leave something behind, I'm never fucking going back. Whether it be a job, whether it be a person, a friend. If I move on without you, there is no going back. Nobody likes spoiled milk. Funny cliche. Nobody likes leftovers, even though I really do. But I think that's the way it is right now, And I know Companies can say, you know, it's inflation, we blame it on the economy. Okay. And that's fine. You know, even with inflation in the economy, certain companies are doing triple, quadruple what they did last year or the year before, and they're still not handing out pay raises. I won't mention the company because I don't want to get my buddy in trouble, but, you know, he told me, he's like, I've been there 6 years, and within those 6 years, every single year, he got a 50-cent raise. I think that's a slap in the face. I think when you give somebody a 50-cent raise, it's very disrespectful. You know, what is that supposed to do? I know I sound very selfish when I say that, but I know if I was at a job for 6 years and I had my review and they gave me 50 cents, I'm not gonna lie, I would not sign the paperwork and I would just walk out. I would tell them to keep the 50 cents. I'll continue to do what I'm doing. Be happy with it. You know, I said before that the different generations and such have different mindsets on, you know, my generation, our age. We want to work as hard as we can and make the most amount of money. And that's our generation. You know, that younger generation is, they want to work the least amount and still make the most amount of money. And I think that's where the fucking generation fucked up, and it fucks everything up at work. Because now you got managers saying, well, we have to be fair to everybody. The fuck you do. Fuck that shit. If I'm busting my ass 10 times harder than those other 2 people, other 4 people, other 5, 6 people, and you think you have to be fair to every one of us and everybody gets the same, absolutely not. I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to explain why I'm doing better than them, why I am better than them. And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful or to hurt anybody's feelings. But if you come at me with some of that bullshit, we're not going to get along, you know, very well after that. I think that a lot of the generations have screwed up for everybody else, and I'm not saying mine didn't, but I know that I go to work every day. I give it 150% every single day. I think that sometimes it's hard. And I'm not saying for me, I'm just saying in general, to go to work, do your best, and realize there's not much more on the other side of the table. It's just people dangle a carrot in front of you and say, if you do this, you're going to get here in 3, 4, 5 years. 3, 4 years pass by and nothing happens. So I think that a lot of people need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know, I'm not going to deal with that shit anymore. If you don't like what you're doing, that's one thing. Obviously, make a change immediately. But if you don't like your job because you feel like you're underappreciated and undervalued, that's a whole nother scenario. I think that happens more than you know. It absolutely happens more than you know. We know, all of us know. You know, I have family that owns, you know, companies. I have families that own businesses. And, you know, I've talked to them about this. And I got to tell you, the ones I've talked to are very reasonable. You do your work, you put in your hours, you show you're dedicated, they're going to give you a raise. They're going to give you more money, more responsibility. And then on the flip side, you have a lot of companies that just give you more responsibility and no more pay. You know, they expect you to do 10, 15, 20 more things, and you're not getting any more pay. That's where a lot of companies go wrong. A lot of companies now think that all these employees need a job. They can't do anything else. And I would say 95%, they're correct. And yes, 95% of companies do have you, excuse my language, by the balls, because they know you have a family. They know you have a mortgage, they know you have rent, and they know you have to pay your bills. And I think that's why right now a lot of companies have the upper hand. Again, when it comes to my company, I'm very blessed. They don't do that. They don't treat you like that. I think they're pretty fair. I will say, though, that listening to the horror stories of what my friends go through, I feel terrible. And I think that at certain times, people need to step up and be like, you know what, I'm done with this shit. Even if the economy is shit, these companies should be able to take care of their employees. So inflation is up 200% and you get a 50-cent raise. How does that make sense? Do the math. So, you know, and I think that's why a lot of employees now, they just come to work, get the job done, and then go home. They don't even talk to their coworkers. They don't even, you know, go to company outings. They don't do anything because they don't want to deal with that. They just want to do their job and go home and realize that whatever they did for the day, they got 50 cents extra. And I'm not trying to sound selfish. Again, I know there's companies that do give raises out. But to look somebody in the eye and tell them that we're going to put a list of things for you to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 things for you to do now, and you're going to be covering that department as well. You're going to help with this department, but there's no substantial pay increase. But in a year or two, maybe 3 years, we're going to get you that dollar raise, and you're going to have a title as a assistant manager and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's really just a title. That brings me into my next, not gripe, but the next thing I hear from a lot of people where they get the promotion but not the pay raise. What in God's name is that? You would think you get a promotion, you get a pay raise. Not, hey, I'm going to make you assistant manager. I'm going to make you manager of the team. I'm going to make you so-and-so, but we don't have the funds to pay you more right now. But we're going to send out a massive email to the whole company so they all know you got promoted. To me, this is in my eyes, save the promotion. Take the promotion, I'll tell you where to shove it. And I think that's what most people are doing right now. They're getting the promotion and then they're not accepting it because they realize their worth. They realize they're worth a lot more than what they're doing. And I think that's why you have so many people out there looking for new jobs. That younger generation, the one below me, they change jobs every 2 to 3 years to get more money. I'm not hating on them for that. Good for you. If that's what works and that's the easy way to do it for you, by all means, fucking do that. Get your money. At the end of the day, nobody's going to take care of you like you. You pass away, a week later, somebody else will be in your spot. So, as much as the family aspect of work goes, once you're gone, you're gone. They will replace you, remove you. Maybe you have a picture on the wall that says, he worked here, she worked here, and it'll say, God bless you. So, I just wanted to vent about this a little bit. Again, because ever since I started the podcast, I have more and more people reaching out to me about a bunch of different issues, bunch of different things, just wanting to talk. So, and I like to, air out their words, what they say to me. They ask me to put on my podcast, without mentioning names, because I'm sure people listen to this, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble at their work. But I think personally, if you're at a point in your career where you feel like you're undervalued, then you need to make a change. You need to go do something else with your life. You need to go back to school. And I'm not saying it needs to be college. Go to trade school. Get yourself a trade. Be an electrician. Be a plumber. Carpenter. Do something like that. Make yourself some money. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what I wanted to jump on with my next topic. Everybody says college is the end-all be-all, which I haven't really talked about that yet. I have very successful family members that own their own construction, electrical, and solar company. I have other friends that own plumbing companies, carpentry, and they paid off their loans already from their trade schools and the unions. Okay? And then I have other friends that went to school for 8 years, 12 years. They have $150,000 in school loans, and they started off making $15 an hour at some job. So it just goes to show, college is not the end-all be-all. If you're not very studious, if you're not that smart in the room, go to a trade school instead. Pick up a trade. Own a company. Buy a fucking van. Become an independent contractor. And make your money. I wish I had done that. I had the opportunity to do that. I chose not to. And let me just tell you something. Go work for yourself. It's not always the easiest option, but at least if you fuck up, it's on you, okay? You're not dealing with other people's fuck ups. I think it's just very difficult nowadays, And then the other companies, let me just jump into this. We want a master's degree, bachelor's degree, and 10 years experience. How is that fucking possible to have both if you're a certain age? Let's say you're 21. How do you have a bachelor's degree and 10 years of experience? It's absolutely asinine. I think that some companies are asking way too much. I think that, they think because of who they are, they can get away with anything they want. And I think a lot of people are starting to fight back. A lot of these kids that I know, a lot of my friends that are not dealing with the bullshit anymore, they would rather just go to a new job. They'll leave a job that they absolutely love for a job that maybe is not their favorite thing to do, but they get treated better. They get better compensation. They get to do a lot of other things that they couldn't do at the company that they love, which is crazy, right? You think you finally found your dream job, and then you realize at the end of the day, every time you go home, you're like, shit, this was my dream job. Now it's just a job. It's not a career. It's just a job. Maybe we all just need to sit down and look in the mirror and maybe all come together as a group, as a unit. I would love to do a table talk about this with business owners and vice versa with people who are looking for jobs. Maybe, bring some people together to help them find a job, because I know a lot of loyal companies and reputable companies out there that are hiring. And I think you just need to make that move, Go on Indeed, go on, door to door is hard nowadays. Nobody really accepts applications door to door. Everything is done online, so that is a hard thing. Not everybody can use the computer, so I know it's difficult for some. But I would say if you're feeling unloved, undervalued, underpaid, then those are three things. You're already ready to make that jump. You're ready to leave. You're ready to never look back. And I have friends, like I said, that are in the middle of doing that. And the one piece of advice I gave my friends, because I got this advice from, one of my friends years ago, never badmouth the company you're working for. Even if they did you wrong 1,000,000 times, they still gave you an opportunity. They still let you put food on the table for your family. They still let you put a roof over your head for your family. Give them the respect they deserve when you leave. Make sure you give your 2 weeks notice. Make sure you write your letter of resignation. Don't just walk out like a fool. Don't just talk shit. And let's say you're interviewing with somebody, which I've listened, some of my friends have done, and I told them you fucked up big time there. When they're like, my previous company, I hated them, they did this. Employers don't want to hear that. Because in my mind, if I'm an employer and I'm trying to hire somebody and they tell me they hated the place they were at for X, Y reasons, and they say that, we're overworked, we can't do that. To me, that just makes them sound lazy and like they're disgruntled, as opposed to just wanting a new job and ready to make a change. I think that there's a big difference between being lazy, not doing your job, and not being compensated, to being the one that does everything, goes out of his way, goes out of her way to help everyone, and you still kind of get pushed backward, told pipe dreams. At the end of the day, like I said, if you're feeling that sort of way, talk it over with your family, talk it over with your friends, mentor, whoever you go to for most of your stuff, and ask him, is this the right decision? Did I make the right move doing it? Nobody is going to be able to give you the final verdict. That's going to be on you. Nobody can make you do anything without you wanting to do it. But if you're feeling clocked out, if you're feeling like this is it, and there's no salvaging what you have, then it's time. Go for it. Like I said, I have friends that are sacrificing their happiness at a job that they might not love, but they're getting paid more and they're getting respected more than the job that they thought was forever. I just want to see everybody out there win. I want to see everybody work hard. I want to see everybody make a bag. I know that's what everybody else wants. I've never met anybody that wants to see somebody else fail, and I'm hoping that with the elections coming up, I don't really, whoever's president is president. I'm hoping things go backwards a little bit. I'd like to spend a little bit less money on groceries and more money into my savings, But I also think that is the reason people are job jumping right now and job hunting. Not necessarily that they don't like their job they're at, but they need that extra money. That's like their extra money to survive, And I'm not talking somebody who's cutting out going to dinner and this and that so they can save money. I'm talking people who live paycheck to paycheck, and if they don't hit 40 hours for the week, that $150, $100 they lose is going to affect them big time. Those are people right now that are looking for bigger jobs, better jobs, and more compensation. It's 100% true. People that love their job are also leaving for more money. They're not disgruntled, they're not unhappy, they just want more money. And I don't blame them. Nothing is affordable anymore. It's hard to sit here and talk like this sometimes because I'm not in a bad situation. There's people that are well worse off than I am. I'm in a pretty decent situation, knock on wood. We need to all really look out for one another and help each other. If somebody calls you and says, hey, can you help me with my resume? Can you help me with it? Of course, do it. Don't charge them. Help somebody tweak their resume. I've done it. I've helped people tweak their resumes all the time. So long story short, I think that, like I said, if you're feeling some sort of way, you're feeling undervalued, underappreciated, undercompensated, there's nothing wrong with looking for a new job. Nothing wrong with getting feelers. And I feel like if your company values you enough, if you tell them you found something else, they will try to get you to stay. And if they don't, then you already know what kind of company they are and what kind of person they thought you were. Because if a company doesn't try to get you to stay, or at least give you a counteroffer, that means they knew you were replaceable from the very start. So, I appreciate everybody listening to my TED Talk. Like I said, I have quite a few guests coming on in the next couple weeks, so I just wanted to, get one of these episodes out here now and prepare everybody. As always, I love and appreciate every single one of you that listen every week. I have my loyal followers, and you guys and girls are amazing, and I couldn't ask for anything more. I hope everybody enjoys the 4th of July. Be safe. Call a fucking Uber. Don't drink and drive. Don't be stupid. And also don't turn into chubs in Happy Gilmore with no hands. You know, you don't want to do that. Lose your fingers because of fireworks. But as always, this has been JD Lewis with Untamed Conversations. Everybody have a wonderful 4th. Ever feel run down, get bad migraines, or get sick often? Maybe you drank too much the night before and can't get out of bed. Want to add some extra vitamins into your life to help your skin and metabolism? Well, I know exactly how to fix that. Get Your Drip On is a mobile IV clinic run by a registered nurse in New Haven, Connecticut area. She will come to your house and literally hook you up. Talk about convenience. She will hook you up with the fluids you need to give yourself that extra kick. Get Your Drip On offers IV fluid bags of immunity boosting, energy, weight loss, hangover cure, skin repair, performance, and recovery. Call Get Your Drip On at 475-209-3409 or message on Instagram at Get Your Drip On to book an appointment now.